Oh, it's a frosty Tuesday morning. We got 32, but not much in the way of clouds. 6:20. I'm Greg Dunker, News Talk 94.3 WKYX. I know if you've been by the mall, you've seen them standing out there with their signs. No, I'm not talking about the Lions Club guys. That was like a weekend or two ago. These are the Ron Paul people. Ron Paul for president. And we're going to find out who Ron Paul is, and I understand there's a rally coming up as well. We got Pat Bryan here, Josh Buckman, Patrick Carbonell, and Jerry Chembler manning the video camera. Now, I got into radio for a good reason, and then here you are taking pictures. Pat, we'll start with you. Before we get into Ron Paul, first of all, and, you know, here on a news talk station, we follow this stuff, and you still don't hear much about Ron Paul. Why are you guys standing out there every weekend with Ron Paul for president signs?
Because we believe in Dr. Ron Paul. We believe in his message of returning the country to constitutional government. We think that the country's gotten away from that, and a lot of people don't seem to be aware of how far we've gotten away from it.
How did you guys find each other?
Through a meetup group on the internet. There's a site called meetup.com, and you can type in whatever you're interested in. So that's how I found the guys. I just typed in Ron Paul and my area code, and boom, there was a site that Josh had set up, and I automatically got connected with all the other people in the area who were also...
Now, you were interested in Ron Paul. Were you a little surprised to not only find that there was a decent number of people around here interested in him too, but some guys set up a website and everything?
Not really. Not really. I've known who Dr. Paul is for years, you know, as the only man in Congress who was really telling the truth. But I was surprised to find out that the American public as a whole were actually understanding what he was saying and responding to it. So I wasn't surprised that there was people in the area.
Now, let me talk to Josh a minute. Josh, you set up a website for this. Now, you're a little on the younger side, it looks like. How old are you, Josh?
I'm 26 years old.
Okay, and usually at the age of 26, you don't find guys that are into politics that much. What draws you to this whole thing with Ron Paul?
Well, I'm concerned about the way our country's headed. I mean, we had an election last year where people demanded change. They were tired of the big spending, the culture of corruption, as it was called, so they put the Democrats in power. But the Democrats are doing exactly what the Republican Congress did before, and I'm concerned. I mean, I'm 26. I hope I live at least another 50 years. I'm concerned about my future. I'm concerned about the future of others. I actually used to be a teacher. I'm concerned about my students' future.
There's a rally coming up this weekend. Patrick Carbonell's here as well. We're going to make Patrick talk. Patrick doesn't want to talk?
It's on Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah,
so it's like tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Oh, so it's not this weekend. Well, Patrick, tell me about the rally and where's that at?
It's at the Cherry Civic Center, 6:30 p.m. This Wednesday.
Now, to have a rally, you've got to expect a fair amount of people to show up, or maybe a lot of people trying to get some more information on this. How many people do you expect to come out there for that thing? I'm drawing puzzled looks.
400.
They have 300 seats. We hope that but the venue will hold 700. And so if people want to bring lawn chairs, that will be fine.
What kind of response, Patrick? What kind of Pat? I mean, what kind of response do you guys get when you're out there? You know, you're holding up your Ron Paul signs, and you know you're out there in all weather.
Good response. Good response. I mean, you know, some people stop and they're just amazed. I know a guy from out of town stopped and was just, God bless you guys. I just never thought I would, you know, find Ron Paul, and you know, he thought he would only see it in the big cities. You know, he was just, you know, elated, you know, to see that even in the small towns, you know, he was running into swarms of supporters.
Now, in the national media, we're, you know, of course we hear about Giuliani and Thompson and Romney and Hillary and Obama and Huckabee and Kerry and Edwards, and we're not hearing a lot about Ron Paul in the national media. How's he stacking up poll-wise with some of these candidates?
Yeah, well, of course, the polls that the major media likes to tout are actually the results when they call people who voted in the last Republican primary for president 4 years ago, which was George Bush, and you know he was a shoo-in. So there really wasn't that. Those polls, I think, right now are showing Giuliani. But last week, Zogby polls did a poll, and amongst registered Republicans, 389 Republicans, I think Giuliani won. But when they expanded it to 1,009 independents and Democrats, Dr. Paul won that poll by over 2-1 over his next closest competitor. And also AOL completed a poll last week where he won that with 24%. I think the next closest was 22%, and that poll had over 250,000 voters.
Yeah, now, the Zogby polls, Rush touts those quite a bit, and some other organizations as well, and those have proven to be, fairly accurate. And if Ron Paul's doing well in one of those, I could see where that would. To be honest with you, internet polls, I remember the day before one of the elections when the internet polls said Perot was going to win in a shoe-in. So an internet poll I'm not going to look at too much, but a Zogby poll that's with a strong showing from Ron Paul, maybe that will lead to some more national media attention. Is he running as an independent? Is that the thing?
No, he's running as a Republican. I was at a meeting last Saturday with one of his sons, Dr. Rand Paul, who was actually coming to speak at the rally, and he talked about their campaign in 1988 when he ran on a third-party libertarian ticket. And our system right now is very prejudiced against a third party. It's designed for two parties, and it's very difficult for a third party to get on. It takes a tremendous amount of effort, time, and money just to get your name on the ballot. So having been through that experience once, he knew that was not the way to go. So he's running as a Republican this time.
All right, now the rally is tomorrow evening, 6:30 at the Cherry Civic Center.
6:30, and Dr. Rand will be here at Rand Paul will be here at 7 to speak.
All right, and if people want to get more information on Ron Paul or more information on you guys, what's the best way for them to go about it?
Well, to get information on us, they can go to meetup.com, type in their interest as Ron Paul in our local zip code, and that'll put them in contact with us. Of course, for Dr. Paul, they can go to ronpaul2008.com, and then the rally, we have a site set up on Yahoo Groups. It's groups.yahoo.com/groups/Paducah Ron Paul.
It'd be a little easier to just go to Yahoo Groups and type in Paducah Ron Paul and hit find it. I can never keep up with those addresses. The search button is my best friend. Pat Bryan, Josh Buckman, Patrick Carbonell, Jerry Chumbler, who's manning the video camera but refused to speak. Thanks for coming by, guys. Appreciate it.
The one last thing we'd like to say is if you want to vote for Dr. Ron Paul in the primaries, you have to change your registration to Republican by December 31st.
Okay, so you have to be that registration by the 31st to vote in either the Democrat
in our upcoming primary. If you want to be able to vote for Dr. Ron Paul, you will have to be registered as a Republican.
If you want to vote in the Republican primary.
Right,
okay.
And you have to do that by December the 31st.
A lot of people might want to stay registered Democrat, though, so they can vote against Hillary. You never can tell. 6:28, we've got Paul Harvey on the way in 2 minutes, and Al Archer's got our forecast.